Thank you for staying with us. A good communication skill is a tool that can be used to improve all areas of life, from building connections with customers, enhancing one's professional image, to advancing one's career. You name it. With this in mind, a broadcast journalist has successfully authored a book titled Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss, to aid the development of good communication skills, using his personal experience as a sample. The 188-page book serves as a practical guide for every individual to present their ideas with confidence, gain an edge in the competitive world of business, and communicate with power and purpose. Joining us in the studio is the author himself and also a broadcast journalist, Nelson Etah. Nelson, good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me
Good
today.
to see you, Nelson.
Right. Anyway, let's begin with what was the gap you saw that made you feel that you needed to write this book to serve as a bridge for that gap?
And thank you for that question, because I think that is really important. I think we, for years, and that's actually how we were also raised, we paid a lot of attention to words, to how you sound. You know, you have to be able to speak a certain way. You have to be able to pronounce a certain way. And I'm not against that, because, I mean, thankfully, I'm able to do that a little. But I had to pay attention to, so if you don't sound like this, can't you communicate effectively? If you're not able to pronounce the words the way we are told in English language, you should pronounce them words. Can't you still communicate? And so I had to begin to take a study to look at the person who is speaking before the words. And so the gap there was the focus on the words rather than the person. I had to begin to bring out that communication is beyond just what you say. It's about how you say it. 1, 2. It's much more even about your personality. It's about the content of your intellectual mind. You know, it's about, are you a resource person? Are you somebody who, if you're put on the platform, you know, to say anything, do you have quality to deliver? Before we get to, you know, how he sounded and what he said, let's listen to the content, because see, when you speak, someone can tell, oh, he's informed. That guy doesn't know anything. So eloquence really is really not about the dexterity of your voice and the vocabulary you use. It's
Even though that's important?
Even though that's important. But it is first about the impact of your knowledge. And so I spend a lot of time talking about you communicating with power and purpose, developing the content of your person. You know, building yourself to become a powerhouse in whatever field that you are, so that when you open your mouth to talk, somebody knows. He knows what he's talking about.
And it's also, from the little I've seen from the book, it's and like what you've also said earlier, is not just in the words. It's in how the words are spoken, how, and you know, the mien, the personality of the person at hand. You know, help speak to that and what you hope to achieve, or how it has worked for you in your engagement so far.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, let's even talk about what came about this book. As an undergraduate, I used to go around the Southeast, because that's where I schooled, to conduct lectures, or should I say trainings, conferences, seminars on communication, leadership, career development, personality
As an undergraduate?
As an undergraduate, yes. We did all of that for I think 6 years, training both students and corpus, but they didn't know I was a student. You know, and so one day we had a conference that had about 1,000 persons in attendance, and I was given a subject to speak on communication in the 21st century. And so 5 minutes into my delivery, everyone in the hall was standing up. I thought, okay, so yo, what's going on? Sit down, you know. And at the end of that program, the organizer told me, he said, you need to put this thing in a book. Because again, after that conference, people had to stop me on the road. Anytime they see me, be like, sir, there was something you said. Could you throw more light to this? And so I realized that this was really impactful and important. And so I had to begin the journey of putting down these things together. Personality, because I realized also, whilst you're speaking, communication is, for me, definition of it, is superposing your entire self. And that talks about your persona. Personality goes down to your mindset, goes down to your character trait, goes down to the content of your person, and then it expands to how you bring that out. And so I paid a lot of attention to every individual developing your person, because beyond what you see, people actually watch you. You know, she made a little comment earlier about me, and I didn't even say anything at all.
Can we keep that behind the scenes?
Well, I think we can. but that's it. It's really important, because that becomes a non-verbal way of communicating. And whether you like it or not, everyone's communicating non-verbally without you knowing. And to communicate the right information about yourself non-verbally, you have to develop your personality, so that when you're communicating, you're not sending the wrong signal or the right thing about you.
So invariably, you're saying owning the narrative about yourself.
Yes.
That it is you who own that narrative, not people determining what the narrative is about you.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And you have to be comfortable in being different and unique in who you are, and be proud of it.
Right. Now, let's delve into the book. I like the fact that you began from the beginning, and there was a sprinkle of history.
Right.
And the power of communication, especially what we saw happen during the Civil War. It reminded me of what happened in Rwanda as well. The Hutus and Tutsis, how communication stirred up, that war.
Exactly.
Now speak to us from that window.
Yeah. When we look into the political landscape now in Nigeria, I probably say in Africa, but there's somebody rising strongly in Kenya. It's making a wave.
Yes.
In that sense. But when you look into the political landscape, we do not have the voices anymore that evokes passion. When our political elites speak, they don't make a lot of impact. They make noise. And so I had to go back to the history of what it was in the time when the Tafawa Balewas, when they talk. When the Ojukwu speak, when the Awolowos speak, they had such an aura and a persona and a presence that you can't but just glean to every word that was coming out of their mouth. And so I had to dissect the Biafra War in Tutu, right? Apart from the back scenario of it, of whatever happened, that in my business, I looked at the communicator part of it. Because how can an Ojukwu sit on a radio broadcast and say everybody should come home, and they started going back home? I mean, if I'm trying to think of who, or Hanez and Dibo, for instance, now sits on radio and says all Igbo in Lagos should start going back, nobody would go. No. What made them want to move that way? There was something about the personality of this person who gave the command, come back home. They saw him as a figure, and he earned that position by his personality. And so when I brought that in, I wanted to bring people to see that as a leader, and that's why this book is beyond, you wanting to be a great speaker. No. It's about you being a great person in your own profession, in your own field. Ojukwu wasn't a communicator. He was a soldier. But he was a great speaker as a soldier. And so I want every person to become great in what they do. That you understand that as a leader in any field of life, there are people who are following you, and you have to be able to have the command of your persona by impacting upon them how you do what you do with them daily, knowing that your very decisions and the steps you take can alter their life. And so that's why that history came in the book.
And you separate, or you keep aside a portion of the book to talk about leadership and governance, and hearing you speak about past leaders, but what about present leaders? Still on the issue of the quest for better governance and leadership. What lessons do you think our leaders can learn from the nuggets you drop in your book?
Especially with influence.
Especially with influence. We did a training some time ago in quite a number of them. I'm trying to remember which one to even mention now. But still in the East again. And we spoke to government officials. And one of the things I told them, I said, look, it's 8 years or 4 years. You leave the seat. So you wouldn't be here forever. Now, aside the projects, which you will do, if you do any, in that sense, there has to be an impact of your personality, not your acts now. Projects are your acts, but there has to be an impact of your personality that would register a presence in the minds of people. There's little of that around, but quite frankly, we have to give it to the current president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has a way of making his impact, we can remember a few words that are making the rounds around the country. That's an expression of his persona, and he's owned it proudly, whether you like it or not. That's why I said you can't be afraid of being unique and different in yourself. And so one of the things I believe that a political class can learn from this is to be able to make an impact. And again, you can't take that from a Governor Wike, for instance. You can call him anything you want to call him, but the guy owns his onions, and he stands by what he believes and what he likes to do. And so it's a pointer to let everyone know, especially like you as our political elites, that there's life after office. And you have to have that kind of impact with what you say, with how you say it, with what you do in office, that would leave a trademark in the hearts of everyone who followed and listened to you.
Speaking about the heart, you mentioned something here, the heart speaketh. And I could just see the scriptures sprinkled across.
I had to bring that in.
I could just see the scriptures sprinkled across some of, the titles here.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about the heart speaketh, you began with the speaker and then went into the content and also the do's and don'ts of communication.
Yes.
Expatiate on that.
The heart speaketh. It's about what you carry on your inside. A lot of people think that I'd be a great speaker if they give me a lectern and a platform. Let me be on the lectern stand, and then I'll be able to. No. You have to be great first in the bedroom. You have to be great first at the bus station. You have to be great first, with colleagues, just playing around.
Right, okay.
They have to be able to say, oh, Nelson is intelligent, without me being on television, without me being on the lectern. That has to be out there. And so you pay attention to the way you are developing, the way your mindset, the way you think about life, your view about life generally. Is your perception and your perspective about everything you look at, is it right? Is there a bent in there? And so the content of your heart is very important. If we can handle that part, where you develop the content of your heart to a level that is full. I brought the scripture, I said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. This is very important. Don't wait until you are on a lectern to be a great person. Just be great where you are right now, and it will be working for you.
Okay, but, just quickly speak to the theme, why it chose act like a student, speak like a boss. It reminds me of, one of the standout quotes of Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. But, and it's a chapter.
Yeah.
The name of the book is
also a chapter.
It's one of the chapters in your book. So just quickly, speak to that.
The generality of that is that act like a student, we can't stop learning. I don't care whether you are a professor, you have to keep learning, or else you lose the tools of your trade. But then speaking as a boss, you have to be somebody who is able to deliver your onions any day, anytime, anywhere. You can't be somebody who quivers or who shies. You have to be bold to stand by your knowledge, bold to stand by your truth. And so you keep learning, but then you have to be able to deliver this on purpose. Any day, anywhere, anytime.
All right.
Like that Larry King.
Now, quickly, in perhaps 30 seconds,
Yes.
salt your words. How should people do that?
Oh, my. You can't use... There are some words you can't use.
You should be a pastor.
There are some words... There are some words you can't use. I mean, when I look at you, and there's some words you say, I'm like, no, Vero didn't really say that.
Right.
Did she? No. Those kinds of words shouldn't come out of your mouth. And so as you grow in life, as you develop, as you become an avid student of whatever thing you do, there are some vocabulary that should not be associated with you at all. You've grown past that. So salting your words is choosing your words. You have to sound an intelligent person that you are. You have to sound an educated, informed, civilized person that you are. no. There's some kind of agboroish, thoutish, and vulgar words that you should not use at all. That's why that is there, and it's important.
Absolutely. That's a fine place to leave the conversation. Nelson Etah, broadcast journalist and author of this book, Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss. Where can people get this quickly?
Well, you can send a WhatsApp to the number 090921245530, or you can go straight to Amazon and get the book. It's on Amazon. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Nelson, and congratulations.
Right.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Right.